Live from the Akrs Broadcast Center, inside of Memorial Stadium, it's the Nebraska Athletics AD Show with Troy Dannon.
On the right side quarter court, Petrie throws it directly underneath. Anya with 2 seconds. Steal. Widener at the buzzer. The layup at the buzzer is good. Widener got the steal and the score. And the Huskers in the third quarter with an Allison Widener. Strip, steal, and layup. And the Huskers lead it 44-30.
Morgan, he hand it back to Wooster. Faces up against his defender, Rice. Top of the circle, hands it off to Williams. Long three on the way. Bang! 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 Bryce Williams, another three with 4:15 to go, and that opens up a 8-point lead, 75-67. How about that three?
Nebraska bad pass picked up by Hoiberg, and Nebraska will dribble it out. And the Husker fans up off their feet. How about that? How about that when, after losing by 37 points at Michigan State, the Huskers at the Horn finished with an 85-68 win over Indiana.
Sarah Franklin off hands, and there's Harper. Now Nebraska, the slide. Andy Jackson off the ticket out of here. It's 20-17. Lexi sails it. Pass made Franklin, the slide. Robinson, block back. Call the grandkids. They did it! Nebraska sweeps Wisconsin for the third time this season. And hello, Louisville. The Big Red back where it belongs. The Final Four, number 18 in school history. 26-24, 25-17, 25-21. And that's a happy bunch of hugging Huskers.
Here's your host, Greg Sharpe.
Thank you. Welcome to our December show. Our sit down with Athletic Director Troy Dannon. Glad you could join us tonight for the next 60 minutes. A lot to talk about. A lot has happened since Troy's appearance with us back in November. If you want to get a question or comment to Troy, our text line is open at 402-413-2400. We're also up on our YouTube stream. And if you want to pop in some comments there, I'll be monitoring that throughout the next hour. Speaking of hours, we are 24 hours away from a Final Four, and the Huskers are there again. Troy, congrats.
It's something to be amazed at when you're not, haven't been around it. And I think this is 7 out of the last 10 years. So, so sometimes people take things for granted, but my goodness, this is something to celebrate. And never quit celebrating, and celebrate whenever you can, because you never know when it's going to be your last chance to celebrate.
Right.
So a lot of enthusiasm. I can't even imagine what I've heard with how many tickets were sold to Nebraskans before anybody had even been set in that Final Four. So I think, it's in Louisville's town, and there's going to be a lot of red there, but I think our red may outnumber their red, which is a testament to, when we talk about the fans, but the program as a whole. Just the state owns and embraces the program. There's the women inside that program are incredible, and what John's done. We saw it with Coach Osborne, right? And decades and championships, and you see it with John. We're so fortunate to have coaches who've got that longevity and that success across generations. It's something else.
How about the atmosphere at the Devaney Center last week?
Well, it was crazy. A lot. I looked down at the beginning and during the introductions, and John actually had his hands up to his ears. And he told me afterwards he thought that was as loud as back in the Coliseum days of being that loud. And I think I was in the Coliseum for the last game played there in the NCAA tournament back in 11 or 12 when I was at Northern Iowa. So I kind of understand a little bit of what that building brought, but it was something else. I mean, it's an incredible home court advantage, and, that's manifested itself in the record.
How about the explosion in the popularity of the sport? The TV numbers were really good last week for the regionals. ESPN has embraced it, put it on their main channels and not kind of backlogging it on the ESPN+. You got to be pleased to see the growth in that particular sport.
Well, TV always shied away from volleyball because of the unpredictability of how long it was going to last, right? And once they finally decided to jump off and take the leap, and you see what's happening with the viewership numbers. But, if you go back, and there's been a lot of talk about how many Nebraska girls are in the tournament, and you look at what's happened to participation over the years and how volleyball has gone, into the stratosphere, and basketball has struggled some, and not just in Nebraska, but across the country. And, volleyball is such a great sport because, you can have one skill and be great at it. Our libero is never going to have 20 kills. but she may be the best player in the country, and I could argue she is. So, you could have a certain skill set, and there's a great place for you, and so that's a neat thing about the sport. It's really encouraged younger girls to participate, and I think you see that over the years now really manifesting itself with how from Kearney to Creighton and what they did this year in addition to the Huskers, but even at the secondary level, my sixth grade daughter goes to Lincoln Lutheran. They won 4 state championships in a row, and it's small school. And I went to a couple of matches. And I was like, "Holy cow!" I mean, this is small college level at a small high school in Nebraska. So, a lot to be proud of for all of us. But the future of volleyball is bright, bright, bright.
Yeah, and we're right on the forefront of that. We really are.
We are, and that's why our game was at 2:00 on Sunday afternoon, right? Because you put Nebraska on ABC. We are that team. We're the old Notre Dame football when it comes to that. And so, there's a responsibility with that. And that's the other thing John's embraced. You're going to be the team that sets attendance records at other places. You're going to be the team that the Volleyball Coach Association wants to showcase. You're going to kind of be the it. And he's been willing to embrace that. The fact that we played twice in the Yum Center this year, a lot of coaches, are a little cautious with their non-conference scheduling. He did it in mind. You go schedule that way, knowing that this is your end game. So things are humming. I look forward to you don't when you're 33-2 or whatever it is and 2, to the chance to rematch and get revenge for one of those 2 is also an added cherry on top to being in the Final Four.
No doubt. Speaking of non-conference, there's been a little bit of chatter that Lincoln may host an event next year. Maybe some more news to come on that.
Yeah, I think that's probably coming fairly quickly, somewhere around the Final Four, immediately thereafter. But regardless of that some of that chatter that got out there, I think we maybe talked about this when the Big Ten attendance record was set for a Big Ten match. John immediately texted me and said we need to own that record. So I would assume we're going to have a Big Ten match inside of PBA this upcoming season. It just feels as if we should own the attendance record for the conference. We're a part of a lot of attendance records. We should have this one as well.
No doubt. Well, since we last talked, the Huskers became bowl eligible for the first time since 2016. And talk about the value of that team getting that 6th win, which has been kind of the elephant in the room that they couldn't get over the last couple of years. How big was that, and what have you sensed in the last month?
Well, I mean, it's the next step on the road, right? And it had been a long time since we've taken that step. So I hope at some point in time this feels really anticlimactic, but it was climactic because we hadn't been there in a while. And, we talk about the practices, but, you look at the portal movement and you look at the coach turnover. And in a lot of ways, this is game 1 of 2025. Even though it's a reward for what you did in 2024, it's game 1 of 2025. And more so today than it's ever been because of the stuff that's happening in December with all the movement and everything else as you try to start looking like you're going to look next year. So probably more important than ever that you play in these games. And so, off we go. I think, New York City is going to be a great place to play. You're going to Yankee Stadium of all things. But, there was a lot, I think coming down to the Iowa game, I thought win or lose against Iowa, we were going to end up probably in Nashville and then, Michigan beats Ohio State and, a lot of other things happened. But, it's going to be a great experience. But as always, you put your fate in your own hands. You don't wait for someone else to control your fate and your destiny. So, off to New York, the team's looking forward to it. They've got great events planned along the way, and it's going to be a really, neat experience. The holidays in New York City are unlike anything else. Mm-hmm. And so even if you've been to New York City, being there over Christmas and that week between Christmas and New Year's, it'll be an experience our athletes won't soon forget.
And again, since we have not been there for so long, even for the folks, and we have a lot of alums who live in the eastern part of the country, this will be kind of a chance for them to just zip into New York City and watch us play.
I think we have 4,000 alums in the metropolitan area of all things, and there'll be a large contingent. It's not as easy to get to, but I know we've got a large contingent coming, that have purchased tickets through us. And, and I don't even know the numbers, but I know we have a big population base in the D.C. area. So, it's a chance to get up close and personal, with the Huskers. When we didn't really go east this year, I don't think we went further than Columbus, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So it's a chance for everybody to see their team and root it on. And, the weather can be hit and miss, right? When you're at this latitude, hit and miss, but it sounds like mid-40s next week. So that's as good as you can hope for.
Sure. Speaking of the start of the 2025 season, is this, and then Coach has talked about that too, that this is kind of game one of 2025. You had a big announcement earlier this week that first game of 2025 will be in Kansas City. Tell us about this.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. We have the original first game of the Cincinnati-Nebraska series that was supposed to be here got COVIDed out, and I think that game's rescheduled 2032 or 2033, which seems forever, but it'll be upon us soon. But this was always the return game to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati moved it to Indianapolis, and then all of a sudden, Arrowhead came and said, "Hey, we're interested in that game." And for us, it's Arrowhead is Memorial Stadium South, and
right.
So the opportunity to go. Plus, it's fairly lucrative for us financially. You don't normally play a home and home and get money, but 25% of the gross gate comes to Nebraska. So it could be $1 million day for us on top of a game that. With 7 home games, it can be an 8th for our fans, and as we've seen, we're trying to recruit the Kansas City metropolitan area fairly heavily, so having that presence there, it's a win-win-win-win all the way around for us.
So ticket sales open this week, I'm told pretty brisk so far.
Yeah, and I haven't even, there's been so much I haven't looked or heard, but somebody showed me a picture of the seat map, and the Nebraska side didn't have a lot of green left in it for open seats. So, I think that's what you expect, but honestly, that's why the game ended up here, because while it's Cincinnati's home game, they're gonna benefit from the Nebraska fans' attendance, and as will we, but so be it. The ability to play in front of our fans, if this is an 8th time, that's something special.
Fantastic. Also, and when you tease it when you were with us in November, you were waiting. You kept saying the Big Ten schedule is about to come out. It's about to come out. Finally did. Your thoughts about the 2025 Big Ten schedule?
Well, we knew how it was going to end, right? And we knew how it was going to begin.
Right.
I think, getting Michigan early on, you have Michigan and USC and Iowa here. You look at when you're at home, when you're on the road, when the off weeks fall. I mean, it's easy to say you couldn't have drawn it up a whole lot better. Coaches tend to look and say how many weeks off does your opponent have versus you, and so on and so forth. But we got a couple of October games, a couple of November games, and we have that long stretch to start the season again, either in Kansas City or at home with the next 3 games after that Cincinnati game. So there's going to be a lot for the Husker fans to watch, and I think we're all looking forward to the next step in the evolution of the program. There were strides this year, and it's not as fast as some people want, and I get that, but I'm a big believer in how the program's been built, and I know what that next stride looks like, and so. I think we're having a good off season so far. Recruiting used to be, the 2 years of recruiting high school kids and being commit, and you hope to hold them to signing day. And now you have that high school window, which is closed, but now we have this other recruiting window, which is, a much more aggressive, quick window. But it seems like football never ends, and I suppose thankfully for those of us who love football, that's true.
You sit on a lot of these committees and talk about these big issues, and we're hearing a lot from coaches around the country, even this week, about what do we do with the calendar, the timing of the portal that opens. Teams are trying to get ready for a bowl game, maybe the playoff. We've had some guys that are on Penn State's team, Texas team, that are getting out now right before they're getting ready to play a playoff game. Where do you see this going in the next 6 months?
Well, it's got to go someplace. I think everybody's frustrated with it, but I'd caution everybody. 2 months ago, there was a movement through the Football Oversight Committee to get rid of the spring portal, just get to one portal.
Completely.
And everybody wanted it to be in December. Now, everybody wants that one portal to be in the spring.
Right.
And, the reason for the portal, if we took this portal away, the coaches would be upset because they can't have the new athletes in for spring ball. And, I think long term, there are going to be a lot of questions about spring ball, whether it should look like OTAs or whether it's truly a spring season. Mm-hmm. Many people have gone away from a spring game just for reduction of injuries. So I think we need to look at spring differently. The other caution is that when the pendulum swings, it swings way to the side, right? And we are so impatient. We don't ever want to wait for the pendulum to stop before we try to control it, which goes back to people wanting to move the portal and now want to move the portal into a different place. It's a challenge. The fact that players are moving before they're playing in the playoffs, what are you going to do? Then again, As I told our coaches, we have agents trying to represent coaches that are trying to find them better jobs all the time, more lucrative jobs. This just is something new, but it's really, quietly behind the scenes, it's what we've always dealt with our coaching staffs, what you've always maybe dealt with as an athletic director. It's new. I think this is an extreme because because of the revenue share that kicks in next year, there's a hurry to some of the NIL third-party stuff, the collective stuff, starts to really get constricted after the antitrust settlement is done. So I think there's a mad rush to take advantage of an environment that exists today that will not exist after July 1.
We're going to talk more about NIL coming up in the next segment. The playoff starts Friday, Indiana at Notre Dame. How excited are you to see it, see how it operates, see these home sites? Where is your excitement level on this?
I hope I'm going back and forth between Louisville and not watching much of it for this weekend.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of us, this is a 2-year playoff. The format's a 2-year format, and it was conceived in a model where the Pac-12 still existed. So I think everybody's already picking apart what is the model going to look like after these next 2 years. But again, pendulum swing. Let's wait and see how all this plays out, see how it looks. I think a lot of folks would like to have a second round of home games. Those who have buys would like to see their ability to play at home. Yeah. I think we're going to find that it's really tough on fans if you play 3 consecutive weeks of are you going to travel 3 weeks in a row, or how can you manage it over the holidays? There's a lot of complications. I'm actually, as kind of that operational geek, as far as the outcomes go, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it operates, see where the strengths and weaknesses of the system are. And because we're going to be tasked with starting to evolve that system really in the spring for what it looks like in 2 years. And so this is a good experience for us to learn from.
Sure is. Everybody has eagerly anticipated this as we made the jump this year to it. I think you're right, wise to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see how it actually unfolds. I know one thing Coach Verrill is really having to deal with right now is the reduction in roster size. That is a huge challenge when we were over 150, I believe, during the fall.
Yeah, and people are going about it in different ways. I think the thing I appreciate, Matt's been really honest with kids, and say, you're probably not in the 105 today. So maybe you want to go in the Portland, maybe you want to go find some place you want to play. There are other programs that are holding back on that decision. They're going to make it in the spring, and there may not be places for some of these kids to go. But it's a challenge. It's a one-time thing, obviously, but it's a challenge. And I honestly think at 105, programs are going to be much more manageable. Staff sizes will come down. The player development, it seems as if player development is a lost art because of the portal now, and we just go find a player who's been developed someplace else. But it's hard to develop player 106 through 150 because just the time. Is there enough time for the strength coach, the position coach? So I think you may actually see better player development in that 75 to 105 range because we have a more moderate-sized roster to where those kids are going to get more reps in practice.
Right. Good stuff. All right. We're going to bring in Jonathan Bateman. We're good with this for the next segment?
We need an expert on this one, and we got one.
Jonathan is the Associate Athletic Director for NIL Strategy and Governance for Nebraska. We'll get his thoughts about some of the things and moving target that is the current situation in college football. But Troy will hang with us as well. Folks, Dorothy Lynch, Homestyle Light and Lean Dressing, Endless Flavor Abilities. We're back with more of our December Athletic Director Show next.
You hit snooze, but not today. Today, you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker Black Shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We're recruiting teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
Hey Husker fans, get game ready at Alumni Hall, your ultimate Nebraska Cornhusker shopping experience. Upgrade your tailgate gear, shop officially licensed Nebraska clothing for the family, or load up on hats, gifts, and accessories. Spend $150 and you'll receive a $10 reward on your next purchase with Alumni Hall's Hall Pass rewards. Nebraska students, faculty, and military receive 10% off when shopping in store. Come shop at Alumni Hall, located in downtown and in the South Point Pavilion in Lincoln, or shop alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Husker fans shop.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun!
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat Modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series, best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get $1,900 for 60 plus $1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe back with you. It's our athletic director show for the month of December. Troy Dannon with us. And now we add to the conversation into the mix, Jonathan Bayman, assistant athletic director for NIL strategy and governance. I mean, your job's got to be a little mundane. You come to work, it's the same thing day after day. I'm totally kidding. It's always changing, isn't it, Jonathan?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. As long as you
right away understand it's going to change every day. It's a little bit solidifying in that way, but yeah, you have to be ready to change with this industry.
How busy is this particular month, particularly with the sport of football?
Extremely busy. Yeah, I mean, right now with recruiting and retaining our athletes, the NIL piece is still the most important piece in recruiting and retention. So right now we're all really busy.
We had Matt Davison on last night from 1890. They have a campaign this week, Together We Win. Talk about the cooperation you're having with them and a little bit about that campaign.
Yeah, so last update I have, 46 out of 50 states have donated. I think the only ones we're missing are Hawaii, Maine, West Virginia, and Vermont. So if anybody's out there, we could use some donations. But yeah, 1890 and the Pede family and Matt and Carson and the whole group are integral in what we do for recruiting and retaining our athletes.
And yet that's a changing dynamic too, right?
Yeah, it is. So we're kind of in this space right now where, rev share is going to come, and that's going to come in July. We have pre-approval on the House settlement. But finalization won't be until April. So we're in this this hybrid area where there's still the collective and NIL and everything, and it's extremely important, and then we'll have rev share starting in July. So really trying to figure out best we can how to operate. That's going to be the best way for our athletes to stay here at Nebraska.
Troy, I know you've been kind of keeping your pulse on this rev share thing, and it's a little bit like the floating rosters in football. It's been kind of a thing you're not sure if it's going to be over here or if it's going to be over there.
Well, and we've got 3 or 4 different contingencies. Assuming the settlement goes as is, assuming that maybe the settlement doesn't happen at all, and then little variations of things, just to have a plan, because coaches are trying to build their rosters, but we can't really give them. I've seen numbers floating around, but nothing's absolute at this point. Everybody's just got a working hypothesis. So it is a little bit of a challenge. At the same time, 1890 can't go away. And in 1891, it's carrying us into next year. But 1890 is going to exist in the future. So there's going to be that third-party component to this in addition to the revenue share under whatever form it takes. So we're the old building the airplane as it's flying, and that's really what it's doing. The great thing with Jonathan here, one, his law degree helps, right? Because there are as many contracts for student athletes in our future as there are for coaches and staff in our future. So, managing that, plus the reporting requirements associated with the settlement are going to be exhaustive. And, on top of that, we don't really know what all the interpretations are to operationalize the settlement, and that's really going to be in Jonathan's bailiwick going forward.
Jonathan, I know there's some people that are a little skeptical. They're going, okay, this 1890 group, they're arm in arm with athletics, but they are their kind of independent wing. How active are you with them? Are you daily? Is it daily contact? Is it multiple times daily?
Yeah, daily,
Okay.
multiple times daily. We're in good coordination with the folks over there, and really, they are a partner of ours, especially with they're the official collective through our corporate partnership with Playfly. So that has made things really good, especially with our state law too. Helps that we're in complete coordination with them. Really, because you have to be. When it comes to roster management, that's one of the most important things. Aside from game day, what a coach does is roster management, and we all need to be on the same page about how we're going to do that. So, the cooperation with them is really important.
It seems like people hear NIL and they think it's just a money grab, but these athletes go out and do things, right, in the community. They're out visiting nursing homes or grade schools or helping put on clinics as well. I'm not sure we tell that story enough.
Yeah, the fulfillment piece is a huge piece that the athletes do for the compensation that they earn. And, our athletes, now more than ever, they're so busy with all of the demands they have as being a student athlete, academics, study hall, practice, training, weights, everything. And the group at 1890 does a really wonderful job about setting up opportunities for them, because they don't have time for a part-time job. They don't, in the summer, they can't go home and, work on the farm or get a job at the pool. This NIL opportunity is something that they're able to do that, athletes before them couldn't. So it's really been beneficial.
Part of the life skills, kind of an extension of that, right, Troy?
Well, from an athlete standpoint, we talk about preparing them for what lies ahead in life. They're in it right now. Now it's financial, right? They have to balance those decisions. They've always had an accountability for personal behavior that maybe was different than everybody else. Now it's supersized. So they're watching everything. And you know, the other thing we talk about is people are always watching them. But I think it's come because their faces are on billboards now, and they get a little bit more attention, and people get offended by it is a money grab or there's money going to them. My son's in 4th grade. They took the fourth grade rite of passage, right, which was the tour of the stadium, and all they cared about was whether they were going to see a football player, and so the impact that these athletes have on the youth of the state, as people watch them, is really important. And so, you know, we think they're doing this, and they have an undue influence on the young people in the state. And so, I'm really proud of how they respond and react. But I think we also have to look at, they're not just going out and playing basketball or playing football or hitting a golf ball. They're influencing young people. And so it kind of makes it a lot easier for a lot of us to understand why there's a compensation model, whether it's NIL or the rev share going forward.
So from your guys' standpoint, you want people to get involved with 1890. We've got commercials that run during the game broadcast here. That's the place you want Husker fans to go and try to contribute.
Yes, definitely. You know, and right now, there's no better time. Right? I mean, as we're sitting here, you know, recruiting and retaining our rosters, and it's not just football. It's all sports, you know, with the transfer portal and NIL. So it is, you know, the #1 priority.
And one thing that can't get said enough, that gets lost, is how this collective is set up versus other collectives. Most collectives, if you give $1, 85 cents of it's going to find its way to the athlete. Here, you give $1, 100 cents of it finds its way to the athlete. The overhead costs, the salaries of those who are raising the money, all the structure, that's all underwritten and backstopped, if you will, by the Pede family. So it's allowed more money to find its way, you know, into the hands of the athletes. It's an amazing structure and setup here. You know, I've said this since I got here. I'm very grateful, because if they hadn't done this when they did it, I don't know how far behind we would be. But now, in this world, we're actually ahead. You know, don't look at the numbers. This school did this and this school did that. That's all made up stuff.
Yeah.
But we are so far ahead of the game right now because of the structure and infrastructure that was put in place and the financial model. So we're really blessed here at Nebraska.
Jonathan, how much are you in touch then with Big Ten officials, NCAA officials as it relates to this? Are you in constant conversations with those?
Yes,
as well?
yeah. You know, a lot from the conference office.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of good folks out in Chicago who are helping us through this. But you know, a lot of this right now, we're in a place where the devil really is in the details of this settlement, and the operationalization is going to be so important, really, to what Troy said about how does the roster work, how is the cap going to work. And you know, we come up with hypotheticals and questions we ask all the time, but right now, you know, a lot of it is in the attorney's hands because that settlement's not final, right? So we kind of have, you know, again, to what Troy said, we have different models, different thoughts, but there's been situations where I thought I had a pretty good situation of what's going on, and Troy gets off a call and comes down and he's like, not anymore, you know. So, but that's okay, you know, that's part of the gig, and that's what all of us are going through right now. So yeah, we have great help at the conference level, but you know, sometimes they don't have the answers because there's so many unknown questions.
Yeah.
The key for us is this is actually an opportunity for us to do this right and be progressive and anticipatory. It's going to give us an advantage over our peers. You know, that all we do is try to find competitive advantages. Coaches do it in scouting and recruiting, but this is the way for the administration to try to find that competitive advantage to help our coaches.
I'm glad you said that about the numbers that popped up last week. I had a lot of people go, I thought we were in good shape. I'm going, we are. We're doing better than what that thing showed.
Yeah. So. I joke with Blake Lawrence, and Open Doors, you know, does great work.
Phenomenal.
It's amazing work. But I said, Blake, I think you're making those numbers up because not everything gets reported. And some of the things that are reported are coming from the collective as much as they are, you know, coming from other sources. So I take all of that with a grain of salt. You know, once we get into rev share, it's going to be much more public and because of open records laws and things like that. So I think we'll see more consistent reporting across the table. But I almost don't believe anything I see or hear, because some people want to understate things to pretend they're poor. Some people want to overstate things to beat their chest.
For both of you, how has the coaching staffs handled all of this, and how cooperative from Fred Hoiberg on all the way down. How has that group been to work with?
Yeah, it's been great. I think our coaches see it as an opportunity, right? And they understand it's a challenge, but a lot of them are excited about it, because it's a whole different frontier that they're going into. Anytime the first time you do something, it's not going to be perfect, right? So we're kind of learning as we go. But by and large, our coaches are excited about the change, and they know that at Nebraska, because we are so well resourced, we're going to be able to use it to our advantage, which should turn into wins.
The challenge the coaches have had, and Jonathan and I met with each coaching staff maybe a couple times now, just to see how they envisioned their sport fitting into this model. But, we want our coaches saying not what are the rest of the Big Ten schools doing, but we want the rest of the Big Ten schools saying what's Nebraska doing. And so getting them to think creatively, most of the money's, probably going into sports that are generating revenue. But you know what? We have a wrestling team that's ranked in the top 5 in the country. We have a bowling team in the top 5 in the country. We have a track and field team, men's track and field outdoor, that will be top 5 in the country. We have baseball, softball that are probably near favorites to win the comp. So how do those sports take advantage of it when maybe they're not driving some of the revenue, but is there a way for this revenue share machine to help them and separate them even further? So there's so much success across the board. There are a lot of mouths to feed here, but that's a first world problem that a lot of people would love to have.
No doubt. Merry Christmas. Thanks for coming in.
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy the big city.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, sir.
That'll be fun. Jonathan Bateman with us, the Assistant Athletic Director, NIL Strategy and Governance. We've got more with Troy coming up next.
This postseason, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are ready to make a run for the championship, and Woodhouse is right there with them. Follow along as the Huskers take on the best in the NCAA volleyball tournament. Hear every thrilling moment, every powerful serve, and every block for the title. Woodhouse, proud sponsor of Nebraska Volleyball, bringing you all the action as the Huskers fight for glory. Stay tuned and cheer on the Huskers each broadcast, presented by Woodhouse.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sapp Brothers bleeds Husker Red, and our high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a touchdown offer with the Sapp Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel. Keep your engines roaring and your equipment running strong. With this winning opportunity, Sapp Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sappbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump
and save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on a massive screen. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Welcome back to our Athletic Director Show for the month of December, brought to you by Woodhouse. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team, Woodhouse, and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Troy Dannon back in the hot seat for this segment. We touched briefly on basketball, mentioned Coach Hoiberg in the last segment. What a great win over Indiana last Friday night. That was impressive.
Yeah, really, and coming back off of, you have those games at Michigan State like that, but the way we responded and the way we closed that game out, it's fun to have both basketballs on the right side of the line if it drew right now to get into the tournament that Creighton win's going to play.
Huge.
The Indiana win's going to play. I think Indiana was picked second in the league. Mm-hmm. So great start. And, this is almost a virtually new roster. But Fred's done a great job, and it's a fun team. It's a fun team. They can score in a lot of ways, and they can score quickly, which is what the fans always like.
That's right. Women off to a 10-1 start. Great start for Amy.
Great start, and the win over Minnesota. Have that big unbeaten first win in the conference. Getting that home game is huge. But they've Georgia Tech, USC, UCLA, the next three teams that are rated ahead of them. That not going to decide anything for the rest of the season, but huge opportunity ahead. They've had some time to get over the injury and learn to play together, maybe in a little bit different format.
The fall semester on campus ends on Friday, so you're going to have some games, both for the men and women, where the students aren't here. Opportunity for the public to come and support Husker basketball.
Yeah, and for the new guy in town to go to PBA and see basketball played in there, it's a great building. We're blessed with great facilities here, but our fans give us home court advantages. Facilities don't do that. The atmosphere inside the building does it. And the nice thing when you have, a lot of our students are within some proximity. So we're going to continue to have students here, maybe not in the numbers that they are, but there are opportunities to come down and see these teams. And, again, I go back to, and this may seem Pollyannish, but I'm very proud of our kids. They're such good people, and they represent us all well. Whether you're a Husker fan or whether you're just a Nebraska citizen, they represent all of us really, really well.
I felt bad last Friday because you had huge game at PBA with Indiana, and then you had volleyball in the regionals. That's really almost impossible to avoid, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you would like to see it differently. The NCAA doesn't give any concern to whether you have a basketball game or not, as long as the venue's open. But it was pretty impressive, the size of the crowd that was at the Indiana game. I left at halftime to go to the volleyball game, and of course, the sellout in volleyball that we can sustain two monster crowds in both venues at the same time. it was nice sitting there watching the end of that Indiana game while volleyball was getting ready to, even though we had a little delay in volleyball because of that 5-setter that went in front of us.
And the basketball team, nice little Christmas trip for them, going to Hawaii.
Yeah, I told Fred, I said I would have loved to have come, but first world problems. We have a bowl game and we have a Final Four to attend. But who's the biggest rivalry? Well, Murray's the biggest rivalry now. But the 3 opportunities in Hawaii, come back and I think we have one more non-conference game and then get ready for conference play. And this is the time that positions you for whatever happens in March and get into the tournament. So. Taking care of business in Hawaii. I told him enjoy the beach, but not too much. But good opportunity for Coach to go out there. He'll get 3 good non-conference games from mid-majors out there.
Yeah, like Loyola Chicago just lost their first game. They're in that tournament. Yep. Oregon State's decent. Hawaii could get a true road game if we play Hawaii in the semis.
Yep.
So good stuff there. Folks, the Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They're the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. We're back with some final comments from Troy coming up next.
You may have heard about Monolith, how right here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. How we'll soon be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. How we're investing hundreds of millions in multiple Nebraska facilities. You might have heard Monolith is changing the world. We're not. You are. Along with many other Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska made.
In the game of life, we all face tough moments. Sometimes it feels like we're up against a formidable block with no way through. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the final set. Reach out, speak up, and let's bump, set, and spike this challenge together. Because in Nebraska, we're more than players. We're a supportive community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every serve, every pass. Go Big Red. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
This holiday season, visit Boot Barn for top quality gifts that pay tribute to the lasting heritage of the West. From handcrafted cowboy boots and American-made felt hats to leather jackets, our in-store experts will help guide you as you shop, assisting with boot fitting and providing complimentary hat shaping. This holiday, share a piece of the American spirit. Boot Barn. Unwrap the West.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back. Our final segment of our Athletic Director Show for December, brought to you by Woodhouse. They have been your trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Huskers getting ready to go to Gotham, to New York City to play in the Pinstripe Bowl on the 28th of the month. Not only has Coach Rural had to deal with the portal and the roster and all those type of things, he's had to make some changes on the coaching staff because some guys have left. Your thoughts about the way he's managed all of that in the last couple of weeks?
I said this when he made the offensive coordinator change, late in the season. I'm proud of how he views the program. Coming in the door, you thought this and that, you expected this and that. Now, after 2 years of experience, where we need to be different, where do we need to think different, where do we need to strategize differently, and so. he's adjusted, what type of people he has in what positions, where our strength's going to be. So I appreciate the analytical approach he's taken. In hiring John Butler, obviously the kids were there. John's done this at this level. We happened to, I've been involved in another interview before I got here at another institution where John was involved. So I've known of him. I high degree of respect for him. But then he, to bring in Phil and just have that confidant, because this is too massive of a job. The head coach is not just watching film and drawing plays up. Now the head coach is negotiating NIL deals and managing the transfer portal and almost re-recruiting your roster on a daily basis. So to have a guy like Phil that Matt trusts that in that associate head coach role really is kind of a brilliant move, and from my standpoint, in that he gets that other guy, that other head coach that he trusts on the defensive side of the ball. And I know what his trust is with Dana. Dana brought a great wide receivers coach in, and you have to bring coaches in who can recruit as well as coach, and I think we got that. So I love where the staff is at, and again, we talked about this. He's starting to plan for a staff with 105 players and not 150 players. So looking at how we break specialties down and where does he think he needs specific expertise, whether it's edge rushers or inside linebackers, right, for example. So he can build the roster the way he needs it, the coaching staff roster the way he needs it.
Question about any idea on a spring game date? Are we
No.
close to that yet or not?
No, we haven't really talked.
Okay.
I know I haven't been much part of any discussions about when he wants to run spring ball, whether he wants to run early or late.
Yeah.
And a little bit of that sometimes has to do with class schedules, quite honestly, and when players are going to be here and when they're not. The nice thing about going a month later with practice is, the guys need a break. They don't need to turn around and come right back in and get into spring ball. We're putting new turf on the indoor facility, so by 1st of February, that turf should be ready. We'll put new turf inside the stadium after the spring game, and I've told Matt we do want a little bit of a buffer time after the spring game. So, but nothing's really been discussed yet.
Very good. You mentioned wrestling. They're off to a good start. Finished second in that big invitational out in Las Vegas. We've got a lot of wrestlers in the top 10 in their weight categories. It looks like it's going to be a fun winter.
Yeah, I think we're rated at every weight. And Coach Manning sent something out yesterday about trying to sell it out for Penn State. Penn State, I don't know how many championships in a row they've won. It's going to be an intense match. And, being a Midwest boy, you grow up loving wrestling. So looking forward to that, but looking forward to seeing our guys wrestle. I've seen them wrestle a little bit in our squad, but great sport. We have a great coaching staff, but, the depth he has, we don't have anybody ranked number 1 or number 2, but when you have all 10 weight classes ranked, that tells you something about, and really speaks to why the team's rated 3rd and 4th in the country.
Yeah, very good. All right, any thoughts about, maybe you talked about the attendance record for volleyball. Is there any way to jam anybody else into the Devaney Center coming down the road?
Yeah, we're looking at that facility there on the side behind the team benches. There are temporary walls that if you took those down, you still have some of the seat treads from when it was just a basketball arena. And how do we capture those? And I don't think we'll do that before next season, but that is in the next couple of year plan, is maybe we can take those temporary walls out, put some chair backs in, and maybe get that thing to 10,000 from a capacity standpoint. I've had some people approach me about why don't we play in PBA? Why isn't that our home court, if you will? And we have a home court advantage there. And I know it's tough to get in, and I'd rather have it tough to get in than seats empty. But that is our building. That is where we practice. That is where we play, and that is a great advantage for the program. And so, that's always going to come first. What puts us in the best opportunity to remain competitive and strong, and playing in the Devaney Center is going to be our home. Even if we do this 1 off or 2 off or 3 off, maybe next year in PBA.
Well, we'll end how we began. Good luck tomorrow night in Louisville. Enjoy the trip. Let's go beat Penn State.
Sounds great. I look forward to it.
Troy Dannon with us. Our monthly athletic director show here in December. We'll be back in January with another show with Troy. We've got another hour of Sports Nightly coming up on the other side.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Ring in the season of savings with the Red Tag event happening now at Woodhouse Chevy. Right now, you can save on all remaining 2024 Chevy models. With reliable safety features, the latest technology, and modern designs, you can shop with confidence when you purchase your next vehicle at Woodhouse Chevy. Shop all remaining 2024 inventory online or in store at one of our 2 convenient locations in Omaha and Missouri Valley. Woodhouse Chevy. Together, let's drive.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Good evening, I'm Duke Root, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The Nebraska volleyball team is in Louisville as they get ready to play Penn State in the Final Four. Head coach John Cook took to the podium today to preview his 12th Final Four in 25 seasons as the head coach for the Huskers before they clash with the Nittany Lions tomorrow.
I think this year was the most competitive year we've had, and there's so many good teams, and you saw all the upsets all across the country. So even though the top 4 seeds got here, there's a reason that we're top 4 seeds, because we had to earn it over a lot of tough competition. And now tomorrow night we're going to win the Big Ten again to get to the national championship.
We will hear more from Louisville later on in the hour. Wake Forest is hiring Washington State head coach Jake Dickert to become the next coach for the Demon Deacons. Dickert went 23-20 in 3 seasons at Wazoo, including an 8-4 year this year. 2 bowl games on tonight as Western Kentucky is down 17-14 to James Madison in the Boca Raton Bowl, and at 8 p.m. tonight it is the LA Bowl between Cal and UNLV. 7 games in men's top 25 college basketball as number 24 Michigan faces number 14 Oklahoma, number 9 Marquette hosts Butler, North Dakota hosts number 6 Alabama, number 21 Memphis travels to face Virginia, and Xavier versus number 11 UConn. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is Hour 2 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Lexi sails it. Pass made Franklin, the slide. Robinson, block back! Goal to Grandkids! They did it! Nebraska sweeps Wisconsin for the 3rd time this season. And hello, Louisville! The Big Red Baffleth belongs. The Final Four, number 18 in school history.
Morgan hands it back to Wooster. Faces up against his defender, Rice. Top of the circle, hands it off to Williams. Long 3 on the way. Bang! 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 Rice Williams, another 3 with 4:15 to go, and that opens up a 8-point lead, 75-67. How about that 3?
On the right side, quarter court, Kinkry throws it directly underneath. Anya with 2 seconds. Steal. Widener at the buzzer. The layup at the buzzer is good. Widener got the steal and the score. And the Huskers in the 3rd quarter with an Allison Widener strip, steal, and layup. And the Huskers lead it 44-30.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
We're back, hour number 2, Sports Nightly. Hope you enjoyed last hour with Troy Dannon. We're going to double team you tonight from 2 different locations. I'm here in studio. Jessica's out in Louisville with the Husker volleyball team ready for the Final Four. Starts tomorrow night. At this time, we should be deep into match number 1. That would be the All-ACC semi between Louisville and Pitt. Huskers will start 30 minutes after when they take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Great to have Troy on. Jess, I learned so much. He's able to, he's really conversational. I love the way he's plain spoken. You don't feel like you're getting worked. You feel like you're getting some real accurate information. Obviously, he has to hold a lot of things close to the vest, but I just really enjoy talking to him.
Yeah, he's pretty transparent, right? I mean, a lot of times you can get the coach speak, if you will, but I feel like he's pretty open and honest, and whatever it might be, he kind of gives the details and what people need to know, and is honest about some of the needs that might need to happen, where things should change, the things that he's working on. But you know, but also is careful and not giving too much away. But I think it's refreshing how open and honest he is about just the state of Nebraska athletics and just the things that he's involved in, even outside and beyond, and what he's doing to try to move Nebraska forward in this new world of college athletics.
Well, and Jonathan Bateman's always great to have on, just to kind of tell us, because we're still all so certain. None of us really have our arms around this NIL. And as Jonathan said, it's different practically every day.
Yeah, I remember talking to him I think it was like last summer or even back last spring. And he said every day he checks the wires, checks the news, looks at the lawsuits, just the verbiage of it, and every day it's different. And he wakes up early and is just constantly trying to make sure that he has all the knowledge necessary. But this has been ongoing for what now, which he was heavily involved with just the transition to NIL in the first place when we first started this movement. Back in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But, even since the rev sharing has started to be a part of the conversation, he is absolutely involved and is constantly, he gets up every morning and makes sure that he's reading all the different stuff that's out from everywhere across the country, and just from legally to just the NCAA, everything. And so, yeah, he's a good resource to have. And I hear a lot from student athletes. He's a guy that helps connect too between if there's an event or a partner or a kind of a sponsorship that people want. He is a lot of times a go-between, and I've heard so many times from athletes how much they enjoy working with him, how knowledgeable he is, how much he's helped them navigate, and so such a great resource to have. And you would talk about a guy that wants the absolute best for Nebraska. So great to have someone like that that's so knowledgeable and wants to know and wants to make sure that Nebraska is in the driver's seat as we move forward in this thing with so much unknown.
Right. All right, let's talk about your trip. Got there a little late, I guess, last night. Just kind of take us through what the last 24 hours have been like for the Husker volleyball team.
Yeah, so again, with the playing on Sunday, and I haven't chatted with Lindsay Peterson about this, but I imagine that with the game, with the match being played on Sunday, and then having to have recovery day and all of that, and then practicing, they wanted to be able to practice in Lincoln on Tuesday, so they opted to travel late to Louisville. Well, we start arriving at the airport, and the plane isn't there, and then once it gets there, you got to turn it over, and it takes a while to get it ready to go again. And then there was a little bit of a mechanical issue. So I think we got in the air about maybe close to an hour after schedule, 45 minutes or so. And so landed late. It was straight to bed. I think the team landed and got in their rooms and went right to bed. And then today was a practice day, and there is so much hoopla that goes into these Final Four matchups. And it's certainly grown a lot for volleyball over the years. And so you have a practice on the court inside the building, and which, by the way, I chatted with a few of the players about that. And it's certainly beneficial that this team has played here twice before already, just knowing the layout of the building, the lights, how the ball moves, because it travels differently in certain buildings. And so how the ball moves and the lighting and all of that kind of stuff. So certainly beneficial. They are familiar with it already getting in here. And then there's a lot of media. They had a media session before practice where they met with the local media, ESPN interviews, to prepare for the game broadcasts. And then after practice, they had more media stuff with the NCAA and all of that. And then they got to hang out in the Players Lounge, which is really cool. The Players Lounge, they had a Louisville or a Kentucky Derby hat making station. Neat. So you could pick out a big floppy hat or whatever floats your fancy with the hat, and you could decorate it with the flowers, all of that. So that was cool. They had a candle making station. They had a manicure station, coffee, hot chocolate. So they got to hang out there. And then I think they were going to have a film session. Oh, they had an event out at the Kentucky Derby tonight, or at Churchill Downs, and then a film session, and then to bed. And then they'll, get up and start prep for the match tomorrow. I guess you and I have talked a lot about this too, but I don't know, ideal if, playing the second match just because you don't know exactly when you're going to play and all of that. So they're going to have to be ready, but they got a taste of that over the regional weekend. So, but yeah, it's today is by far the busiest day of all the days that they will be here. If they, advance to the championship match, this is the crazy day. This is the circus day because there's so much going on in that first day that you arrive to the site.
Which can be tough because you turn around in 24 hours and it's real. I mean, these are the matches. Yeah. That's why you're here for. Okay, you were in Tampa last year. These these communities tend to roll out the red carpet. They want to make a great impression. They want to put on an unbelievable event for the student athletes. Have you noticed much difference between the way Tampa did stuff last year to what Louisville's doing this year?
Well, I think, just the overall setup inside, the players' lounge, all of that, just fantastic.
Good.
I don't know about, I feel like just maybe because the weather was nicer, I was starting to see Husker fans trickle in down in Florida, but I have not seen that yet. But I also have not walked around a whole lot. It was kind of busy, but we'll see tomorrow. I know there's a couple of events that are happening and a pregame event. So there's no doubt in my mind Husker fans are going to be here, and are going to, probably some of them even arriving tomorrow. But I think just with the different weather, it was rainy today. I woke up to thunder here. Whoa. So with the rain and kind of colder weather, and when you're in Florida, you see people out walking around because it's nice. So I just think maybe with it being not as nice outside, you're not seeing people out and about. But there's no doubt in my mind they'll be here and they'll show up and show out like they do everywhere and all the time.
Jessica's with us from Louisville, covering the Huskers again tomorrow night. They're the second match 1, 5:30 Central, and then 30 minutes after it ends. We anticipate that to be around 8:30 tomorrow night for the Huskers take on Penn State. Let's talk about the fact that you were in Tampa, so was this team. Remember this team a year ago, no seniors. A bulk of that team is back. Yes, we had a couple people that left the program, but you've added like a Layla Blackwell and a Tater Landfair and some other young folks into the program. How big of a factor do you think that could be? That Nebraska's been through this a year ago where Penn State was not in the Final Four last year.
Yeah, and I have actually asked that question to a couple of the players today, but then also to Emily Ehman, who we're going to hear from here in just a few minutes, just the difference in that. Because this is a very, very talented team. They were very talented last year, but they were very young, very inexperienced. And it was just this magical run that I don't even think they knew what they were doing. They were just showing up and balling out and winning. I think they just have a different maturity level to them. They understand the magnitude, the stage. Again, as we just went through, the hoopla that comes along with being here, and how to compartmentalize and focus when you have a short window because you've got all these demands and you're being pulled in so many different directions. You mentioned Layla Blackwell. She's been to the Final Four, right, when she was at San Diego, when she was with San Diego. So she understands playing at this level too. Taylor Landfair certainly played at a very high level. So I think that experience, that maturity, and just understanding what it takes to win at this level. This team played so well in the national semifinal a year ago against Pitt. We're just absolutely dominant. But then things didn't go their way as well in the national championship. And I think this is a team, and this is one thing that we've talked a lot about throughout the course of the season on The Dig, about this team responding when things are not going their way and sustaining those runs. You're playing good teams at this level. Teams are going to go on runs. How do you respond to that? How do you stop the run? How do you get back on your side of things? And this team has really started to figure that out. And I don't know if this team knew how to do that a year ago. They just were so good. And when they were winning, they were dominating, and they were running away from people. Whereas I think they've been just a little bit more battle tested this year and understand, okay, if a team scores a couple points in a row, that's okay. It's on to the next point. And so I don't know if there's any deficit that's too big for them. But then also I think that if they do get a lead and then teams start to chip away, just like we saw against Wisconsin on Sunday, and the couple of times that this team has faced Wisconsin, that's a team that's going to go on runs. This level of volleyball, teams are going to go on runs. But I just think they're mentally more capable of handling just the moment and the big things that come along with being in this moment and being successful in this moment.
No doubt. All-American teams came out this morning, 4 Huskers on the first 2 teams. Your thoughts about the honors for those young ladies?
Well, yeah, and very deserving. How about Lexi Rodriguez, a 4-time All-American? And again, another conversation I had with Emily Ehman. You and I talked about this, what was it, last night, about she deserves to be, and she was a finalist, named a finalist, but she absolutely is a player that deserves to be National Player of the Year with what she's done for this program year in and year out, but especially this year. Just It is, this team has not always, going back to just that last point that we just talked about, it's not always been pretty offensively. But yet the defense has always been lights out, and they have relied heavily on that defense to win some games where the offense wasn't going. Well, who's the catalyst to that? It's Lexi Rodriguez. So they've won some games that maybe a lot of teams wouldn't have won because of the offense not going well, but because they've relied on that defense, and that's where Lexi Rodriguez is just such a huge factor. Bergen Riley, if you are the best or one of the best teams with one of the best offenses in the country, your setter deserves to be an All-American, and that's what Bergen Riley is. And she's the quarterback, she's leading this thing, and then Andy Jackson's just been unbelievable this year. She's really stepped up her game, and Harper Murray, a second-team All-American. So yeah, just very, very deserving. And we also talked about this with a team that's so well balanced and has so many different contributors. Sometimes that will split votes, maybe not allow for your stats to be as jaw-dropping as teams that just rely very heavily on one hitter or two hitters. But because you have such a balanced team, sometimes maybe that doesn't always show up in these postseason awards, but certainly very deserving for the four that were honored today.
I've been a huge Andy Jackson fan. I wasn't sure she would be first-team All-American. Delighted that she is. But she's put the work in on it, and I remember you did a dig, I think it was with Jalen early in the season or even before they got going in August, and he just grinned when you asked about Andy Jackson. And now she's a first-team All-American as a sophomore. Incredible.
Yeah. And, even here's what you could say about Andy Jackson. She came out of the gate and was absolutely dominant. And then teams started to have to game plan and take her out of it.
Right.
So then that allowed for things to open up. So I think that's where, even on the nights that maybe she's doesn't have the stats that we typically see out of her, teams that still can't allow, they are game planning to try to take her out of it. So that allows for other things to open up. But she is just such a huge factor. Yeah, Jalen, she made a huge jump between freshman and sophomore year, playing for Team USA, and then just figuring out. She's just so athletic. We've all been a huge fan of Andy Jackson, and she's the sweetest person ever, like the sweetest person. But, my dad and brother went to volleyball day in Nebraska last year and said they were watching, the quote unquote layup line. And you just can see, they're like, that's the athlete right there. That's an athlete. You could just, she's just so gifted athletically and just so raw. Her natural athletic ability is just so off the charts.
It jumps off the screen, right? Just jumps in.
Yeah, but I think she's figuring out now how to play volleyball, and she's becoming more of a volleyball player as opposed to just relying on that raw athleticism. So she's unbelievable, and she's just a sophomore, folks, a sophomore.
Wow. All right, you've been busy today. We're going to hear some of the fruits of your labor. What do we have coming up this hour?
Yeah, so going to hear from Emily Ehman, as mentioned. You and I, we're big fans of her as well. I think she's the best in best college volleyball analyst. She's with the Big Ten Network and now has done some stuff. She's actually working for ESPN doing their studio show here in Louisville, and so she's doing quite a bit there. But she was a part of I believe it was the Stanford Regional, right? And so she has a good perspective just on this overall field, but she loves Husker volleyball, is so appreciative of it. I actually asked her about the football. She went to a football game, and she's like, why is there a football field in the volleyball arena? But, she's just she's so appreciative of this program and so has such a deep respect for Coach Cook and what this program has been able to do. But she has such a great perspective on this matchup between Penn State and then just overall this Final Four field. And then also Olivia Mauch. How about the freshman that's just been absolutely tremendous for this Husker volleyball program. So a couple great interviews, and then we're going to save the rest that we got tomorrow for the pregame show to the pregame show. So I'm going to tee up Lauren and John Baylor here live from Louisville with some of those interviews I got today.
Very good. We'll look forward to that coming up here a little bit later on in the hour. Well, good stuff today. Can't wait to hear from both Olivia and Emily coming up here in the next segment. It's a Sports Nightly Wednesday night. The text line's open if you want to fire something that way, 402-413-2400. We've got more of the show next.
This postseason, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are ready to make a run for the championship, and Woodhouse is right there with them. Follow along as the Huskers take on the best in the NCAA volleyball tournament. Hear every thrilling moment, every powerful serve, and every block for the title. Woodhouse, proud sponsor of Nebraska Volleyball, bringing you all the action as the Huskers fight for glory. Stay tuned and cheer on the Huskers each broadcast, presented by Woodhouse.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Husker fans, this is Coach Cook thanking you for always supporting Husker Volleyball. With your help, we've maintained a streak of consecutive sold-out regular season games that dates back to 2001. Thanks also for supporting your Husker student athletes through contributions to 1890 Nebraska, the official NIL collective of Husker Athletics. 100% of your contributions to 1890 go to Husker athletes. Visit 1890nebraska.com or text NEB-NIL to 801-801 today. And join us as we continue to dream big.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
'Tis the season to buy at the Get Holiday Ready sales event at Woodhouse Ford. Find the perfect gift for someone special or yourself. Unwrap incredible savings on our top models, from the spacious Expedition to the rugged F-150. Plus, the year-end savings are here. Celebrate the season with reduced prices and holiday bonuses on all remaining 2024 vehicles. Browse our inventory online or visit us at one of our 3 convenient locations in Blair, Omaha, and Plattsmouth. Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Ford.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, There's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Duke, I apologize. I totally should have asked this during the break. Which interview are we going to first? Are we going to Olivia right now, I believe? Olivia Mauch, the freshman defensive specialist, been a part of that trio that just been unbelievable in the back row. She's also, developed quite the serve that if you missed it, I think it was going into the NCAA tournament, so the first week of the tournament during the press conference, Coach Cook was asked about it. He said it's a wimpy serve, but then Coach Cook tried to go out there and pass it, and he did not have much success at it, but they had some fun with it. Her rotation, though, where she serves, I believe is what he had said is the top scoring rotation. So she's already, as a freshman, been able to make just a huge impact, both on the service line and as a defensive specialist. And I had a chance to chat with her today going into her very first Final Four appearance. Jessica Coody here with freshman Olivia Mauch. How does it feel to be here at the Final Four?
It's so crazy to be here. I know this is my first time, but it's just a crazy feeling. So,
when you guys punched the ticket on Sunday, what was that feeling like to be able to celebrate with the team and know that, this is what you work for?
Yeah, I think it means everything. This is what we've been working for the whole season. So just to punch it on, when was that, Saturday? Sunday? Yeah, it's crazy to see all of our work come together and then finally make it. So.
Well, before we talk all things volleyball and the Final Four, let's go back to the serve comment with Coach Cook. We haven't had a chance to talk to you about it.
Yes.
And then you got a chance to actually serve to him, and he passed it, and not very well, by the way. What was that like, just that whole process when you heard him say that, and you're like, okay, let's see if you can pass it.
Yeah, I was definitely hurt. I was like, come on now, I serve a lot. But, yeah, I think just, it's crazy how much, attention that got, because I just never thought, my serve would get that much attention, so I think it's just crazy.
So how would you evaluate his ability to pass it? It was not great, right?
Not great, but he didn't have any warm-up passes, so I'll give him that. But
but that's just been such a key point, and he's hit on that, this coaching staff has hit on that all season, just that you moving into that role and how important that rotation has been. How did you get there? As a freshman, how were you able to get to that point where you are such a factor back there from the service line?
Yeah, I think just we work on it a ton in practice. Serving and passing is a big part of volleyball. So I think just working on it every day and then trying new things also in practice and then seeing that come out in games has helped me a lot too.
How much fun as a freshman has it been for you to be able to be in that role and in such a big role for this team?
Yeah, I think coming in, I wasn't expecting to play this big of a role, but now that I'm here, I think it's been fun. The girls have been so welcoming to me, and then just and if I make a mistake, they're always so comforting and stuff. So I think it's really easy. They make it easy for me to come in and do what I do. So.
Everybody that I've talked to on the coaching staff weekly have just talked about your just demeanor, you're steady Eddie, you don't too high or low. And as a freshman, that's hard to do. What wires you that way to where you can manage all of this as a freshman?
Yeah, I feel like I've always kind of been like that. I think playing with other girls from different schools has helped. I played on the USA teams and stuff, so I feel like I've been in not as big as this stage, but kind of big stages, so I think that's helped me a lot too. So.
How has it been being part of that trio of littles that everybody's talking about with Lexi and Lainey?
Yeah, I love it. They're we have a little family, and we're so close, and I just couldn't do it without them. I've learned so much from them already, so yeah.
How much pride do you guys take in that, a lot of volleyball is talking about the offense, but this team is highlighted by a lot of times what you guys do, how you set the tone defensively.
Yeah, I think Nebraska's always been known for their defense, so I think just to come in and kind of be a part of that and see from the inside how good we actually are, I think it just says a lot about the coaching staff being able to coach us very well, and then the girls who they recruit. So.
Well, tell us about Lexi and just, give us your perspective. How good is she? We talk about her winning the Regional Player of the Year, the first libero to do that. A lot of times liberos don't get this national recognition, but how good is she? How important is she to this program?
Yeah, Lexi has been a key player for all of her 4 years, I think. So just like to be able to watch her, I feel like some balls you're like, oh, that's going down, and then she just comes in and picks them right up. So I think she's such a key player, and I really look up to her. So.
Well, what's going to be the key? You guys really relied on a lot of defense to get to this point. How important is that going to continue to be for you guys to do what you want to do here in Louisville?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. I know they say defense wins championships, so just doing that and then serving and passing and being aggressive, and then we won it really bad, I think. So just like putting it all out there, don't have any regrets, I think. So.
How are you approaching this, your first time at it? Being that, there's a lot of players on this squad that have the experience, but you're the first timer. How are you approaching it personally?
Yeah, I kind of just feel like it's another away trip. I don't feel like trying not to look at it as a super big deal right now, but I know I'll have some nerves tomorrow for our first game, but just trying to look at it as another game, and then we just need 2 more. So.
Yeah. Well, what did you guys take away from that first Penn State matchup that you're trying to adjust to maybe having a different outcome when you guys play tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't think we played our best game against them, so just being more aggressive and then not letting who is on the other side affect how we do. So.
And you guys have been so good at preparing all year long. How have the preparations been? How prepared do you guys feel for this moment?
I think we're very prepared, and then we'll have practice later today, so just get in there, get some touches, feel the gym. So I think it'll be an exciting day. So
thank you so much for your time. The best of luck.
Thank you.
They had an open practice today, and so there were fans coming in, and there were certainly some Go Big Red chants, some Husker Power chants, but this team was having fun. They were loose, and so I think that's how they've been. And same approach. You don't have to change a bunch. They've been very successful up until this point. So you got to. It's the messaging seems to be it's about us. It's about Husker volleyball. So hopefully they are going to be ready to go. And I really truly believe they are. I like their approach to this season, and as we talked about and highlighted too, just the experience they were able to gain at this stage a year ago. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. I've not been able to check the text line yet, but I did want to read a chat that we had on the YouTube chat. Cindy Kugler said, such a great senior class, classy, great athletes, teammates, and women. We'll miss them all, a very special group. No doubt about it. I know we talk a lot about Lexi Rodriguez, but certainly Merritt Beeson has come in and been a tremendous leader. Lindsey Krause's played a huge role. I talked to her today, too. How about playing in 3 Final Fours in the 4 years you've been at Nebraska? Both her and Kennedy Orr is a tremendous leader. So great class. Layla Blackwell's come in, and just a tremendous class. Kudos to that senior class. And I think they've set this group up to be ready to carry on the torch, and it's a tough senior class to lose, and a lot of times you get nervous about that, but I think they've done a really good job of preparing the next class to be able to step in and carry on, and then you reload with a few players from both the signing class and the transfer portal. So but absolutely did want to make sure and read that comment, because it is an incredible senior class that are on their last ride. Hopefully 2 more matches that we get to see them in a Husker uniform. All right, got to get to a break here on Sports Nightly. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Big Ten analyst and ESPN analyst, and in my opinion, the best in the biz, Emily Ehman. So keep it here on Sports Nightly. Dorothy Lynch, home style, light and lean dressing, endless flavorabilities.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun.
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on our massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat. Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Hello, Husker Nation. This is Lex Rodriguez, All-American Libero, serving you an ace on behalf of Noddle Companies based in Omaha, Nebraska. Noddle Companies is a full-service leader in commercial real estate, digging deep to create thriving communities like the Builders District, Exarban Village, and the contemporary row house townhomes. They bring world-class concepts in fashion, great eats, gorgeous homes, and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. To dig up more information, find them on Facebook and Instagram. Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Got a couple of segments left here. I am in Louisville. I'm Jessica Coody, by the way, in Louisville with the Husker volleyball team as they prepare to take on Penn State in the NCAA National Semifinal. Well, one of the voices of college volleyball that you hear everywhere, from the Big Ten Network to now ESPN. She called matches all throughout the tournament. You're going to see her in the ESPN studio coverage between, before, and after the matches tomorrow is Emily Ehman, and Husker fans know her well. She calls a ton of matches here in Nebraska, has been a great advocate for the Big Ten Conference, and certainly has a lot of respect and admiration for this Husker volleyball team, and a great perspective as well. So she's here to cover the Final Four for ESPN, and I got a chance to chat with her at practice today.
Jessica Coody here with Big Ten and ESPN volleyball analyst Emily Ehman, the best in the game. Well, here we are, another Final Four that Nebraska's in. How about that?
I mean, it's no surprise. You know, this is a team that has made so many, 8 in the past 10 years. It's not surprising to see them here again. This is consistent, and it's the expectation for this program. They're supposed to make Final Fours.
I want to dive into this matchup, but before we do, we saw unprecedented coverage of this tournament this year. You were a part of it on ESPN. How special is it just to see, again, the way the sport continues to grow and the amount of people that could watch this NCAA tournament?
I mean, we keep thinking that the ceiling has been set and cracked, and like it just keeps getting higher and higher, which I think is the most exciting part. The viewership, I think, is something that, if you don't have context of how all that works, like 100% year-over-year turnover, that you're doubling viewership in a year, and that is something that isn't happening in any other sport, which I think speaks volumes to how well volleyball is doing and how well it's going to continue to grow.
And I know it was chalk what got here to the Final Four, but we saw there's a lot of parity. How exciting is that just to see, again, the talent that's on this sport on this stage?
Yeah, I think no one expected it to be chalk this year because of all the parity we've seen, all the upsets we saw during the regular season. So it's a bit surprising that we haven't seen any upsets from the Sweet 16 on. But I think it's made for a really fun Final Four because headed into this, it really feels like these games are going to be competitive. You know, in years past, it's been like, okay, maybe one of the games might not be competitive. You expect a blowout, but for the 2 matches that are happening on Thursday, it really feels like we're going to get really good matches, and I think everyone's excited for that because these 4 teams are so good.
Well, let's go back to Sunday. How impressive was what Nebraska did to Wisconsin for the 3rd time this year?
I mean, it is so difficult to beat a team once in a year, let alone twice, but 3 times and then added onto that, sweeping them in every single time. And, you know, that's not a Wisconsin team that is easy to take down. I think what I really saw from Nebraska was just that composure. And even from the first matchup that they had this season, I think, you know, headed in to the field house like they did and just completely dominating and continuing to do that throughout the season was so impressive. And like the defense on Sunday, that was one of the most fun matches that I think we've seen throughout the tournament, just because, I mean, I love defensive matches. That's, you know, what gets me going. And what we saw in the backcourt, you know, not just from Lexi Rodriguez, but everyone back there, it was so impressive. It was so much fun to watch. And I think if you somehow haven't been paying attention to Husker volleyball all year, it was very clear that they're fun to watch because of that.
How frustrating does that make it for opposing teams when they are doing what they're doing defensively?
It is so frustrating when you're going up against a defense like that where you think you're hitting good shots and all of a sudden someone comes scooping in to pick it up. It is so frustrating as an attacker because you don't have any more options. And honestly, what that does is it forces attackers to hit options and hit things that they don't want to hit. And then you see errors start piling up, especially when Nebraska's block is, you know, going off like it did, and the backcourt defense. It just really becomes frustrating and you see the errors pile up, but that's what Nebraska does. They just force opponents to get in uncomfortable situations.
You put out a tweet or a post on X last week about Lexi Rodriguez and the best player in the country. First of all, why don't liberos win national awards, and what do we got to do to change it?
You know, I think it's difficult for any through-rotation player to win a national award. For example, like it's difficult for middles to get that award as well. When you're only playing in half of the game and you know your responsibilities are a lot less than some of these attackers. You know, a player like Olivia Babcock, she has to serve, defend, hit, everything. And you look at a player like Lexi Rodriguez, she's really just passing and defending. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into that, but that's kind of what you see on paper. To me, I think she's the best player because she's not only one of the best, well, she is the best libero in the country, in my opinion, but I think the numbers that she puts up are very special this year. You know, I think we've seen players from year to year put up similar numbers to an Olivia Babcock, but what Lexi has done now in her 4th season, I think really sets her apart as, you know, one of the best liberos to ever come through the college game.
Well, Bergen Riley, the setter again this year, now in year 2 with the Huskers. What can you say about just the way she spreads it around and manages this offense?
I think she's managing it a lot better than from what we saw last season. This offense is the most balanced in the country. It really helps Nebraska that they can have different players go off on any given night. You know, they're lucky to have a player like Harper Murray on the outside who can continue to handle out of system sets, or like we saw in the regional semis and regional finals, go off like she did. It's huge to have that. But to know that they have options all around. It doesn't have to be Harper. You know, it can be Merritt Beeston on the right side, or Landfair has really shown a lot of promise. And of course, Andy Jackson's very consistent night in and night out. That helps Bergen Riley a lot, but she's also managing it really well. With how good the pass is for Nebraska, it's great that she has all options, but then you have to be able to distribute, get the ball in the right location, and she's just improved immensely in that consistency of getting her attackers in the right spot.
You covered this team a year ago. They got to the national finals match. Now, this is a team that has the experience. It's two different seasons, but how has this team improved from what they did a year ago to where they are now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, you can look at how they play and those just minor improvements because they are the same people. I think in general, they've just gotten a lot more consistent across the board, whether that's passing more consistently. That was the biggest thing why they lost that national championship against Texas and got blown out because of serving. When you get aced that many times in a match, a lot of that comes down to focus and composure. That was the number one thing that Nebraska said we needed to, get on track for this season. And now they're the best passing team in the country. They've been aced the least amount of times of any team in the country. So they clearly made that change. But I think for these players, you're 1 year older, you're 1 year wiser. We're seeing that in the play of, players like Harper Murray, like Andy Jackson, Bergen Riley, who came in as a freshman and were kind of wide-eyed coming into a Final Four. I think people also don't really understand behind the scenes in a Final Four, there's so much pageantry that goes on. Like today on Wednesday, they're going through a car wash of media all day, and it's kind of scary as a freshman coming in, and you don't know what to expect, you don't know how to handle it. Nebraska's had an advantage because they did it last year, and all of these players have been through that.
All right, well, I want to get your thoughts on both matchups. Let's start with the first match before Nebraska, Pitt-Louisville. What are you looking for in that one? What are going to be the keys in that one?
It's going to be a slugfest. I think that's the most exciting thing. This is the third matchup that we're seeing this season. Pitt won in 5 the first time, and then they won in 4 the second time. Both are very different matches. Both teams had different game plans, and from what I'm hearing from both coaches, they've actually just completely scrapped the scout from the past 2 matchups and are just scouting new because the teams are different. I think one focus for Louisville specifically is to keep balance in their offense. Don't get too heavy on the outside. We see that from time to time. But the win against Stanford that Louisville had, it was because a player like Sophie Maldonado-Diaz went off in that matchup, and that was really the X factor. So having that third attacker go off is going to be huge for Louisville. For Pitt, it's going to be continuing to keep that balance, but you also need Olivia Babcock, who's one of the best players in the country to go off, and Tori Stafford, but they've been doing it all year long. So can those 2 players go off, and then also can they get some production from Valeria Vasquez-Gomez and keep the service pressure on?
All right, well, how about Nebraska-Penn State round 2? Obviously, the Nittany Lions took round 1, but how is this matchup going to be different here on this stage?
Yeah, the first time these teams matched up, I thought Nebraska did a phenomenal job following the game plan of shutting down the left sides. They were amazing at that. Both Jess Merzik and Cameron Hanna hit under 100. But then you have Caroline Jervicius going off, which was very unexpected for a player that hadn't done that all year. So I think it's the same game plan. You got to manage the lefts. And if you can do that, if another player is going off, then maybe try to contain them. But I think this time around, Nebraska's at an advantage because I think, again, Penn State's never been to a Final Four. Really, the only players that have are Jervicius and Mendelson, who came from Nebraska. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I think for Nebraska coming into this one, managing the lefts is big. On Penn State's side, I think it's just managing the moment. I think coming into the match, similar to how they did in the first time around, feeling like the aggressors from the beginning, that's going to be big. But the biggest thing for the Nittany Lions is, handling the moment of a Final Four and not kind of folding in that sense and getting too nervous.
How iconic is it, though, Penn State, Nebraska, to get to the national title match?
Oh, it's amazing. There's 12 national titles between the 2 teams, 7 on Penn State's side and 5 on Nebraska's side. 2 of the most historic programs of all time, and just the success they've had really builds into this rivalry that has been created over the last few decades. And it's so much fun having something like this where it's not only an interconference matchup, but it's a massive rivalry for both of these teams.
All right, last thing in non-volleyball, because I saw you at the football game, the last one, Wisconsin and Nebraska met up in the regular season. You were at the Wisconsin-Nebraska football game. How about the Huskers getting back to a bowl game? Yeah. How did you like the atmosphere of Memorial Stadium?
I went to my first game not doing an interview, anything like. I just went as a fan, and it was literally so much fun. I thought, it doesn't compare to 92,000, of course. I stepped in, I remember being like, who put a football game in the volleyball stadium? What are we doing? But honestly, the vibe in that stadium is incredible, and I think there's no wonder why people come from all over to experience it, because it's truly one of a kind.
It's Husker Nation for you, right? In all sports?
In all sports. They are some of the best fans in the country, and they definitely let you know that.
Great stuff. Appreciate your time, as always.
Thank you.
Always enjoyed talking with Emily Ehman. She's just absolutely fantastic, and as nice off air, off camera, off microphone as she is, she seems when she's on. So appreciate her time. And again, you could check her out. She's going to be a part of the ESPN coverage leading up to the match, in between, and post-game as well. So she is certainly a rising star in this business and knows her college volleyball. All right, we got to get to our final break here of Sports Nightly. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We're back to wrap up the show next.
Shop Genesis of Southwest Omaha for your next luxury sedan or SUV. From the captivating Genesis G70 to the refined elegance of the Genesis GV80, our exhilarating lineup delivers unrivaled performance. Right now, get 2.99% APR for 60 months on the entire lineup of 2025 Genesis G70s. Get started online at southwestomahagenesis.com today. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra when financed with Genesis Finance. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires December 31st, 2024. See dealer for details.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down at T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2, at T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits eligible to trade in on Go5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Welcome back. Final segment here of Sports Nightly. Just got a couple minutes left here during our Wednesday night edition. The Final Four eve before Nebraska takes on Penn State in the national semifinal. I'm Jessica Coody, live from Louisville with Husker Volleyball. It was a busy day today with practices and media availability, and then tomorrow will be the real deal. And we will have live coverage. I will be live for Sports Nightly starting at 6 o'clock, and then we'll hand things over to John Baylor and Lauren Cook-West for the pregame show, probably starting around 7. But lots of fun stuff planned for tomorrow's hour long, and then I know JB's been hard at work all day getting content for the pregame show. So the best of the business for the radio there, so tune in there. Did want to get to a couple of texts. We had one from Kay in Buffalo County said, I feel all the players on the Husker team deserve an award, but lately Rebecca Alec has started us off on the right foot with her blocking ability and at the net. Absolutely. She's really improved our offensive game, but she has certainly brought the energy, but there's just so much talent. I think it's just hard to get all of them in. All right, again, we will be live on the air starting at 6 o'clock with Sports Nightly. I'll be courtside, and then I'll hand things over for the pregame show starting at about 7 o'clock. Again, that first match between Louisville and Pitt, it just depends. It's 30 minutes after that match ends, so if it goes 3, it could be earlier. If it goes later, then it could be pushed back. But we will have you covered leading up to that. But should be fun. I'm excited. I like the approach of this team. And let's hopefully be talking on Friday, Friday, Sports Nightly, about this team preparing for a national championship match. That's going to do it for me. Thanks to Greg and Troy Dannon, Duke, for running the show, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
On the text line, text 402
Thanks, Duke.
413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun!
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat Modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.